The phone call that changed everything. The moment I realized my parents didn't love my daughter was the moment I heard her crying through the phone. Not loud crying, not screaming. The quiet kind. The kind children make when they already know nobody is coming to protect them. And honestly, that sound changed something inside me forever. It was raining outside when my phone rang that night. I had just finished a 12-hour shift at work. My body hurt. My head hurt. Life already felt heavy enough. Then I saw my mother's name on the screen. I almost ignored it. I should have, but something told me to answer. Hello? At first, all I heard was noise, TV sounds, dishes moving, voices. Then finally, Daddy? My chest tightened instantly. Sophie? Her tiny voice trembled. Can you come get me? I stood up immediately. What happened? Silence. Then I heard my mother in the background. Stop acting dramatic. That sentence alone told me everything. Sophie, I said carefully, where are you? At Grandma's. You're crying. No, I'm not. Children say that when they're trying not to get in trouble for having emotions. I grabbed my jacket immediately. I'm coming. Then my father's voice suddenly came through the phone. She spilled juice everywhere and threw a fit. My jaw tightened. She's 8. She needs discipline. No. Children need patience. Broken adults call fear discipline. I grabbed my truck keys. What exactly happened? Nobody answered directly. That made me angrier, because guilty people avoid details. Then Sophie whispered something so quietly I almost missed it. I didn't mean to break the picture. Picture? What picture? But before I could ask anything else, the call disconnected. And honestly, the drive to my parents' house felt longer than any drive of my life. Rain hammered against the windshield while my mind raced through 1,000 possibilities. Sophie almost never cried, not unless she was truly scared. And that terrified me, because after losing her mother 3 years earlier, my daughter already carried enough pain for a child. She didn't need more, especially not from family. When I finally pulled into my parents' driveway, the porch light flickered through heavy rain. The house looked warm, normal, peaceful. Funny how toxic homes always look peaceful from the outside. I walked in without knocking, and immediately saw Sophie sitting alone at the kitchen table, small shoulders shaking, red eyes, hands folded tightly in her lap, like she was waiting for punishment. The second she saw me, she stood up fast. Daddy! That one word nearly broke me. I walked toward her quickly. What happened? Before she could answer, my mother interrupted. She destroyed a family photograph. Destroyed? Interesting word choice. I looked at the table. A broken picture frame sat near the counter. Glass cracked. That was it. An accident. One simple accident. Sophie looked terrified. I said I was sorry. My father crossed his arms. She needs consequences. I stared at him carefully. She's a child. And children need discipline. No, I said quietly. They need adults who don't terrify them. Silence filled the kitchen immediately. Tyler, my younger brother, walked in smirking while eating chips. You're babying her again. That sentence lit something dangerous inside me, because for years, my family treated kindness like weakness, especially toward children. Sophie grabbed my jacket sleeve gently. Daddy, I tried cleaning it. Her voice cracked hard. And Grandpa yelled. My father rolled his eyes instantly. Oh, please. That was it. That tiny dismissive phrase. The one toxic people use after hurting someone. I crouched beside Sophie slowly. Did anybody hurt you? Tiny pause, then tiny nod. Not physically, emotionally. And honestly, sometimes emotional damage lasts longer. My chest burned with anger. What did they say to her? Nobody answered. That told me enough already. Then Sophie whispered something that made my blood run cold. Grandma said Mommy would be disappointed in me. Pure silence, complete silence, because they all knew Sophie's mother was gone, and somehow, they still used her memory against an 8-year-old child. I slowly stood up, and for the first time in years, my parents looked nervous around me. Good, because suddenly I wasn't the quiet son anymore. I was a father, and fathers eventually break when their children hurt long enough. My mother folded her arms immediately. "You're overreacting." "No," I said calmly. "I think I've been underreacting for years." That silence hit differently. Even Tyler stopped smiling. Because deep down, they knew they crossed a line. Then my father made the biggest mistake of the night. "She's becoming too emotional, just like her mother." Everything inside me went cold. Not loud anger. Worse. Controlled anger. The kind that scares people more. I stepped closer slowly. "Don't." My father frowned. "Don't what?" "Talk about my wife like that again." He laughed softly. Actually laughed. "She made you soft." That sentence snapped something inside me completely. Because Emily wasn't weak. Emily was kind. And cruel people hate kind people because kindness exposes what they are. Sophie started crying again quietly. And hearing my little girl cry while grown adults mocked her mother felt like watching something sacred break apart. I grabbed Sophie's backpack immediately. "We're leaving," my mother scoffed. "Oh, here comes the dramatic exit." I turned toward her slowly. "No." I looked directly into her eyes. "This is the last time you ever make my daughter cry." The room went silent, because suddenly, they realized I meant it. Rain poured outside as Sophie sat quietly in the truck, holding her stuffed rabbit tightly against her chest. Neither of us spoke for several minutes. Then finally, "Daddy?" "Yeah?" "Are Grandma and Grandpa mad at me?" That question hurt more than anything else that night, because children always blame themselves first. Always. I looked at her carefully. "No, sweetheart." "Then why do they always yell at me?" I didn't answer immediately, because how do you explain toxic adults to a child? How do you explain that some people care more about control than love? I tightened my hands on the steering wheel. And honestly, that was the moment I finally admitted something to myself. My parents never changed after Emily died. They got worse. Before Emily got sick, she protected me from them. Protected Sophie, too. Emily knew how to calm situations, how to soften harsh words, how to absorb tension before it reached other people. But after losing her, all the ugliness in my family became impossible to ignore. Sophie suddenly looked down sadly. "Maybe I really do ruin everything." That sentence nearly stopped my heart. I parked the truck immediately, then turned toward her fully. "Listen to me carefully." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "You are not a problem." "But the picture broke." "So what?" "I make everybody angry." "No," I said firmly. "Broken adults get angry at children because they don't know how to handle their own emotions." She stared at me quietly, trying to understand, trying to believe me. Then softly, "Mommy used to say that too." That almost destroyed me right there, because suddenly I could hear Emily's voice again. Calm, gentle, protective. And honestly, I missed her so much it physically hurt. When we finally got home, Sophie fell asleep on the couch holding her stuffed rabbit. I covered her with a blanket carefully. Then I sat alone in silence, anger growing heavier every second. Not explosive anger, the exhausted kind, the kind built over years, years of criticism, years of manipulation, years of emotional cruelty disguised as family honesty. Then my phone started ringing. Mom, ignored. Dad, ignored. Tyler, ignored immediately. Then finally, a text message appeared from my mother. "You embarrassed us tonight." I stared at that message for a long time. Interesting. Not, "We hurt Sophie." Not, "Is she okay?" No. Their biggest concern was embarrassment. That told me everything. Then another message came. "You owe this family respect." I actually laughed. Because respect without kindness is just fear. And honestly, I was done fearing them. I walked toward the hallway closet slowly, opened the old storage box, and inside it were the documents my parents prayed nobody would ever see. Bank statements, property records, legal papers, proof. Years earlier, when my father's business nearly collapsed, Emily secretly saved them. Not me. Emily. She used her inheritance money to stop them from losing everything. The house, the company, their reputation, everything. And how did they repay her? By humiliating her daughter after she died. I stared at those documents quietly, while rain hit the windows outside. Then suddenly, I remembered something Emily told me years ago. "If they ever hurt Sophie the way they hurt you," her voice echoed in my head, "promise me you'll stop protecting them." At the time, I laughed it off. I thought things would improve. I thought becoming grandparents would soften them. I was wrong. Cruel people simply find smaller targets when stronger ones leave. And my daughter became their target. That realization changed me completely. Because suddenly this wasn't just family drama anymore. This was about protecting my child. The next morning, Sophie walked quietly into the kitchen wearing oversized pajamas. She looked nervous, careful, like she expected somebody to yell at her for existing. And honestly, that alone made me furious again. "Morning, sweetheart." "Morning. You hungry?" Tiny shrug. "I made pancakes anyway." While cooking, I noticed her staring at me nervously. "What? Are you mad at me?" I turned around slowly, and hearing that question from an 8-year-old hurt more than anything my parents ever said. I crouched beside her carefully. "Sophie," she looked at me quietly, "you never have to earn love in this house." Tears instantly filled her eyes, because children remember safe words forever. And honestly, so do broken adults. She hugged me tightly. "I miss Mommy." "I know." Then she whispered, "Everything felt safer when she was here." That sentence hit me harder than anything else. Because deep down, she was right. Emily protected us from emotional storms nobody else noticed. And after losing her, I spent years trying to survive instead of truly protecting Sophie. Not anymore. Because my parents crossed the line with my child, and they were finally about to learn something important. Quiet people don't stay quiet forever.